Do you believe that you hold an entire galaxy within you? This isn't a literary metaphor. I'm talking about a real galaxy, a microcosm of information, experience and wisdom, accumulated not just from the day you were born, but from millions of years before you ever existed. We often think of the nature of the mind as a blank slate at birth, with life being the pen that writes our unique story. But what if I told you that you were born not with a blank slate, but with a vast library, an infinite treasure trove containing the mind seeds of all humanity? In this video, we will embark on an inner journey to explore this great genetic inheritance. We won't rely on belief, but will follow the light of modern science. From genetics and neuroscience to the astonishing discoveries of epigenetics, we will see that ancient spiritual concepts like the Storehouse consciousness of Buddhism or Carl Jung's collective unconscious are not far-fetched at all, but are being proven day by day in laboratories. Get ready to discover that you are not just the product of your parents, but the heir to countless generations of ancestors, and that hidden within your consciousness is an infinite potential, a galaxy of possibilities waiting to be awakened. To begin this journey of discovery, let's step away from the complex world of humans for a moment and look to the natural world. Mother Nature is the most eloquent storyteller of this invisible heritage. Think of a tailor bird. No one teaches it how to build a nest. It has no schools, no instruction manuals, no YouTube tutorials. But when the time comes, an irresistible urge rises from within. It knows exactly which leaves and blades of grass to find. It knows how to use its beak and feet to sew the leaves together with spider silk, creating a perfect architectural marvel, both warm and safe for its coming offspring. It builds a nest identical to its mother's, its grandmother's, and its ancestors from thousands of years ago. Where does that wisdom come from? It is written in its DNA. It's a blueprint, a survival guide passed down through generations. Or consider the miraculous story of the sea turtle. A mother turtle painstakingly hauls herself onto the same beach where she was born, digs a hole, and lays her eggs. She then returns to the ocean, never to see her children. Months later, tiny hatchlings break free from their shells, digging their way to the surface. And then, under the moonlight, they begin an instinctual journey. Without a single guide, they know exactly which way to go to reach the ocean. But the greatest miracle is yet to come. Many years later, after swimming thousands of miles across vast oceans, the female turtles will return, with pinpoint accuracy, to the very beach where they were born to continue the cycle of life. They have an invisible map in their minds, a biological GPS system they inherited. It's not a personal memory, it's a species memory. And perhaps one of the most incredible stories is that of the monarch butterfly. Every autumn, millions of monarch butterflies in North America begin a great migration south to Mexico. This journey is nearly 5,000 kilometers long. But what's extraordinary is that no single butterfly lives long enough to complete the entire round trip. It takes 4 or 5 generations of butterflies to complete one migration cycle. This means the generation that flies to Mexico in the fall are the great-great-grandchildren of the generation that left the previous spring. They have never seen that wintering forest. No older butterfly is there to lead the way, so how do they know where to go? The answer once again lies in their genes. They inherit a solar compass and a magnetic map, a navigational wisdom passed down through generations. This is hereditary wisdom in its purest form. These stories are not magic. They are undeniable biological proof that DNA doesn't just encode for eye color or the shape of a wing. It also encodes for extremely complex behavioral programs, pre-installed software of the mind, and humans, of course, are no exception. When we talk about the human mind, you can imagine it like a smartphone. The conscious mind is you, the person holding the phone right now, tapping buttons, opening apps, scrolling through social media. It's the part you are aware of in this moment, your thoughts, feelings, and the plans you're considering. The subconscious mind is like the operating system and the hundreds of apps running in the background. You don't see it, but it runs almost everything. From connecting to Wi-Fi and updating data to notifying you of new messages, it stores all your photos, messages, phone numbers, and every app you've ever installed. When you learn a new skill, like typing on a keyboard, at first you have to consciously focus on each key. But after much repetition, the typing app gets installed into your subconscious. Later, you just need to think about writing a message, and your hands type automatically without you thinking about the details. And here's the crucial point. When you first get a new phone, it already comes with an operating system and a few default apps from the manufacturer. Likewise, when you are born, your subconscious is not empty. It already contains programs passed down from your parents, your family, and many generations before them. This is where the great psychologist Carl Jung made a quantum leap. He realized that beneath the layer of the personal subconscious, there lies a much deeper, more fundamental layer. He called it the collective unconscious. Imagine if the conscious mind is the captain, giving all the commands, then the personal subconscious is the ship's hold, where all the silent activities of the crew, the fuel, and the engine keep the entire ship running. The collective subconscious, or collective unconscious, is the very ocean upon which the ship sails. This ocean doesn't belong to any single ship. It is common to all ships. It contains the currents, the laws of the tides, and the universal weather patterns that every captain must learn to navigate in order to survive and thrive. According to Jung, this collective unconscious is inherited, just as we inherit our eye color. It is a psychic DNA. For decades, this idea was considered mystical, but modern science is beginning to find astonishing evidence. The field of epigenetics shows that the powerful life experiences of our parents can leave chemical marks on their DNA, which can then be passed down to their children. Listen to this true story from the lab. Scientists at Emory University exposed male mice to the smell of cherry blossoms while simultaneously giving them a mild electric shock to their feet. Soon, they became extremely fearful and stressed whenever they smelled the scent. But the most shocking discovery was that their children, and even their grandchildren, who were born and raised in a completely different environment and had never smelled cherry blossoms or been shocked, also displayed extreme fear upon their first exposure to the scent. The learned fear of the grandfather generation had become an innate fear in the grandchildren. A memory had been passed down through DNA. This is the scientific mechanism for psychic DNA. The fears, traumas, and great joys of our ancestors do not completely disappear. They leave epigenetic marks, hidden programs that are passed down to us. When we look through this lens, the ideas of Eastern philosophy suddenly become astonishingly clear. Over 1,000 years ago, the Yogacara school of Buddhism described a concept very similar to the collective and personal unconscious. The alaya vijnana, also known as the storehouse consciousness. Alaya means storehouse. The alaya vijnana is depicted as a giant warehouse that contains all the bhaja, seeds. Every thought, word, and action we take, whether good or bad, plants a seed in this storehouse. These seeds never disappear. They simply lie dormant, waiting for the right conditions to sprout and bear fruit in the future. This storehouse doesn't just contain the seeds from this one lifetime. It contains seeds from countless past lives, belonging not only to ourselves, but also to the community, to all sentient beings. It is both a personal subconscious and a universal subconscious. Let's combine these two ideas, Jung's collective unconscious and Buddhism's storehouse consciousness. We can envision a beautiful model. When we are born, Our subconscious or our mind is not a blank slate, but a fertile garden of consciousness. This garden is not empty. It already contains an immeasurable number of archetypal seeds. The seeds of all humanity, passed down through generations. The seed of courage, the seed of fear, the seed of love, the seed of greed, and so on. They are all already there. Throughout our lives, our conscious mind is like the gardener. Every thought, every action, every choice you make is a decision about which seed to water. If you constantly live in fear, you are watering the seed of fear, and it will grow into a giant tree that blocks the light in your garden of consciousness. If you choose to act with courage, you are watering the seed of the hero, and it will grow strong. What determines your life is not which seeds you have, because you have them all. What determines your life is which seeds you are nurturing. And the story of inheritance goes even deeper. The garden of your consciousness at birth doesn't just contain the common seeds of humanity. It also carries the unique imprints from your parents' own gardens. This is where we talk about genetic imprints and karma. Let's briefly define karma. Karma is the law of cause and effect. All our actions, words, and thoughts create results. Good actions bring good results. Bad actions bring bad results. It's like planting seeds. If you sow an orange seed, you get an orange. If you sow a lemon seed, you get a lemon. And karma is not inherited through genes. It follows consciousness through lifetimes. Imagine the collective unconscious as a stream of pure white light containing all colors. When this stream of light passes through the prism of your parents with their experiences, their fears, their joys, and their karmic imprints, it is refracted and creates a unique color spectrum. You, as their child, inherit that color spectrum from your parents. That is why even newborn babies already have different personalities and vibrational frequencies. One child may be born very calm and serene. Another may seem anxious and restless. Though they are all pure, they are not empty. They already carry hidden colors, seeds that have been partially watered by previous generations. If we liken the aura to the external manifestation of the combined energy field of body and mind, this explains why the auras of newborns differ. The common essence is still light, but the differences are largely due to the inherited colors and the individual karma they carry. Over many generations, these differences continue to accumulate and transform, creating an infinite diversity of human consciousness. No two gardens of the mind are exactly alike. Everyone has the common seeds, but the combination of plants that grows is entirely unique. Now let's expand our view to a cosmic scale. If the collective unconscious exists, where does it exist? Is it just a concept confined to the biological brain, or is it something larger? Many thinkers and mystics throughout history have spoken of a similar concept. The Akashic Records, also known as the Universal Library. They envision this as a field of informational energy that permeates the entire universe. A cosmic library where every thought, emotion, action, and event that has ever occurred is perfectly recorded. This may seem like a very mystical idea, but astoundingly, quantum physics is hinting at something similar. The principle of conservation of information, one of the fundamental tenets of physics, suggests that information is never truly lost. It only changes form. Everything you do, every thought you have, leaves an informational imprint on the fabric of space-time. We can make a bold inference. The collective unconscious of humanity is not a closed system. It is a part, a folder within that giant universal library, and each of us, through our subconscious minds, is like a computer connected to this cosmic internet. When you have a strange dream about an ancient time, when you have a creative idea that seems to come out of nowhere, or when you feel a deep connection to a stranger, perhaps you're not just accessing your personal data storage. Perhaps you are unconsciously downloading a file from the collective energy field, from the collective unconscious. When we string all of this together, a grand and hopeful picture emerges. You are not an isolated individual. You are a point of convergence, a unique expression of a great stream of consciousness. You are both personal and collective. Your knowing nature, as in Buddhism, or yourself, as in Jung, is like the ocean. It is the fundamental, pure, non-dualistic consciousness, common to all people. Your collective and personal unconscious are like the waves and currents within that ocean. A wave has its own form, but its essence is still the water of the ocean. Your genetic imprints and karma are like the salinity, color, and living creatures in your particular region of the ocean. All oceans are water, but each region has its own unique ecosystem. The difference between us is not in our essence, we are all the ocean, but in our manifestation, our waves and ecosystems are different. This carries a profound meaning. No one is better than anyone else. They are just manifesting different seeds. A person who is expressing anger is not evil by nature. It's because the seed of anger in their garden has been watered too much, perhaps due to personal experience or due to genetic imprints from their ancestors. But the seed of compassion is always there, waiting to be nurtured. Each of us, though a unique ray of light, is refracted from the same common sun. So what do we do with this knowledge? Does realizing we are the heir to a psychic galaxy change our lives? The answer is yes, radically. First, it frees us from judgment. When you understand that a person's behavior is the manifestation of countless seeds that have been inherited and watered, you will have a more compassionate view, both of others and of yourself. Second, it gives us power and responsibility. You cannot change the seeds that are already in your soil, but you have the absolute power to decide which seeds you will water, starting today. You are the gardener. You are responsible for your garden of consciousness. Start observing your garden. Which plants are overgrown? The plant of anxiety? The plant of procrastination? Or the plant of love? Ask yourself, how have I been watering these with my thoughts, words, and actions? Start consciously every day to spend time watering the seeds you want to see grow. Read a story of courage to water the hero seed. Practice gratitude to water the seed of abundance. Spend time in nature to water the seed of connection. You have an infinite treasure trove of possibilities within you. What matters is not what you have, but what you nurture. This is episode 9 of our 111 video series on the energy of the universe, where science and spirituality meet to help you better understand yourself and the evolution of consciousness. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos. And finally, I want to ask you, today, which mind seed will you choose to water in your garden? Share your intention in the comments below, because speaking it aloud is the first act of watering.